Mic'd up.
Highlights from Lowlifes. Highlights from Lowlifes.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. And there's that great sound of an open beer.
And another one.
Yes, we are the highlights from Lowlifes, and we're coming at you with episode 85 or 86, something like that. It's a lot. Tonight, I've got Rob Lannerman and special guest stars Brent Teddy Bear Tetlow
How you
and
doing, folks?
Doug J.C. Penny. We are continuing a theme that we created a while back of listing for you our top 5 favorite players at a given position on the baseball field. Tonight is third base. We are going to have crossovers because there are some great third basemen that we all like. And I would encourage you guys, just because somebody takes your pick, that doesn't mean anything. You can still talk about why you like the player. So let's do that instead of worrying about picks being taken tonight, because we're going to have some crossover, most definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you are listening to us, please leave us a question or a comment. Down at the bottom of the screen is a microphone. Just tap that, and you've got 30 seconds to leave us a question or comment. And if we like it, we'll play it live on the air. And then we'll comment on it or make fun of it. We'll have to decide. All right.
You're
Let's
waiting
see.
for a hug. You might want to pack a lunch.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Let's get started. Brent, what
Okay, I'll
would
get us
be one of
started here.
your top 5 third basemen?
Okay. I'm a big Giants fan, and most of my picks are Giants, but I went out there and picked probably somebody that everybody has on their list. He's a third baseman that spent his entire 18-year major league career with the Philadelphia Phillies. 72 to 89 is Mike Schmidt. He was a 12-time All-Star, 3-time winner of the National League Most Valuable Player. He's known for his combination of power and hitting, strong defense. That's why I kind of picked him. I loved his defensive play. As a hitter, he knocked down 548 home runs and almost 1,600 RBI. And he led the National League in home runs 8 times and in RBI 4 times. So he won the Gold Glove Award for third baseman 10 times while he was playing in his 18-year career. He's
Wow.
just an awesome guy. He had an unusual batting stance. He'd turn his back somewhat towards the pitcher and rock his rear end back and forth while he was waiting for the pitch. And he'd stand far back in the batter's box, made it almost impossible to jam him inside. And Pete Rose once said, to have his body, I'd trade him, mine, my wife's, and I'd throw in some cash. he was a big, strong guy. But the reason he's on my list is he hit the ball that was my closest ever to catching a home run. I was at a game sitting out in the bleachers with a bunch of my work buddies, and we decided to go to the ball game, and those were the cheapest seats we could get. So when he hit it, I thought, oh, well, it's coming out this way. He'll probably catch it. And I feel, oh, it's carrying. Oh, it's going to be a home run. Oh, heck, it's coming right at me. And it landed one row short where somebody caught it right in front of me. I just wish he had hit it just a little harder to get it out to me. But Mike Schmidt, my number 5. Number 5.
Excellent.
The Phillies announcer used to say, Michael Jack Schmidt. Yep.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And that's the way a lot of people
Harry
still
Callis.
refer to him. Yeah. Harry Callis. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Anybody else want to chime in? Otherwise, I'll pick Robbie. Who you got for number 5?
All right, for number 5, I want to go way back. Friend of the show, John Cusack.
Oh, yeah.
He might call in tonight from what I hear. We'll see.
Oh, good.
But he did an outstanding portrayal and probably brought to most of our mind's a guy that was just a really outstanding third baseman in his era. A great hitter, great fielder, guy that played baseball for the love of the game and did it all for the right reasons. Got caught up, unfortunately, in the Black Sox scandal, had his career cut short. He spent the rest of his life fighting to clear his name. His ancestors have all done the same thing, and they continue to fight to this day to get his name cleared. That, of course, is Buck Weaver from the Black Sox team. Yeah, I mean, the guy could play ball, and it wasn't just the movie. If you go back and look and read about him, he was a baseball player's baseball player, and so boy, somebody like that will always include on my list. So Buck Weaver is my number 5.
That's a good pick.
Excellent. Well done.
Yep. Well,
Cusack played
JC, I'm sorry, say, Brett.
I said Cusack played a pretty mean third base when he played for the Cubs fantasy camp team.
Yeah, I heard he took a lot of serious lessons before the movie,
Oh,
so he could
really?
actually look like a guy playing. He wanted to make that role look like a real player. So,
Okay.
JC, bring us your number 5.
My number 5. I'm kind of going off the rails with my number 5 because you'd never suspect that this player who probably played 5 total years in the majors, uh, 9 years from his first game to his last game, uh, hit 265, and all of his 7 home runs were hit as a utility infielder with the San Francisco Giants. But I'm picking him as my number 5 because he fielded a tough hop with 2 outs in the ninth at third base, threw it to first base, and completed Matt Cain's perfect game on June 13th, 2012. And so Joaquin Arias is my number 5.
That's kind of a homer
JC,
pick.
yeah, JC, I was at that game
Yeah,
Oh,
and
wow.
saw that. And I also saw the incredible catch that Gregor Blanco made in center
Okay.
that
field.
was
Yeah.
outstanding. Yes.
Yeah. hmm
Yeah, I was on
Yeah.
the edge of my couch right here at home watching that thing, and every out closer, I scooted a little bit closer to the edge, watching that ball game.
Yeah.
All right. Let me bring this round to a close. I'm going to choose my guy. Uh, this is my favorite third baseman, but I'm going to call him number 5, so I can be the first one to throw his name out.
Good.
As you know, I grew up a Cub fan, and one of the reasons I was a Cub fan was because of this guy. He looked so excited to be on the baseball field every day playing. He played third base for the Cubs almost every game from 1961 through 1973.
Wow.
Steve
Many times.
Ontiveros, right?
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. Um, 342 homers, 1,331 RBIs,
Wow.
a 277 lifetime batting average. Um, like he's an 8 or 9 time All Star, got MVP votes every year. And after his career, he went into the broadcast booth and was easily one of the worst announcers to ever grace the booth. Not because he didn't understand the game, it's because he didn't understand that with radio, you need to describe what's going on for the fans. You can't just go, "Oh no." So
Look, he threw it
Ron
over there.
Sano, yeah,
Ron
Ron
Santo.
Sano is one of my
Santo.
favorite players of all time. Just a good person. Um, lost his leg to diabetes, and still worked in the broadcast booth as long as he could. He's since passed away, but just a great guy. So he's my number 5 pick.
His
All
That's a
right.
good one.
he,
I
Yeah,
remember
you
watching
mentioned
him.
it. The
he
Yeah.
would sit at the bar apparently down in Union Square, and he couldn't go anywhere, but he already lost his leg, and he'd sit in the bar and drink, after games, before games. He was interesting.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
What were you going to say, Robbie?
I was going to say, I love one of my favorite calls by an announcer all time is exactly what you talked about. It's bottom of the ninth, bases loaded. Cubs are up by 1, and Santo or whoever was with him, Gary, the play-by-play guy,
Dwayne Stats, maybe.
maybe. Anyway,
Mhm.
whoever it was like, there's a fly ball to left, and you could tell what happened in the game. Bases loaded, 2 outs, fly ball to left, and all you hear is Santo. The next thing you hear is Santo go, no. Never a
Yeah.
description of the fact that the ball got down in the gap. 2 runs scored. Cubs lost the
Yeah.
game.
This was Brant Brown was playing left field for the Cubs. Not really a great outfielder, and the ball hit him right in the middle of the mitt, and he dropped it.
Oh.
Um,
Oh.
it kind of defined Brown's career, but that call is so famous in Cubs lore.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh man.
no!
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No description, and like they go to the old style
Mhm.
beer commercial. It's just like, what? Wait, what? What?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Sorry for the aside.
All right, we go into round 4. Robbie,
Okay.
start us off.
All right. Let me see. I got and I don't think mine are going to show on everybody's list. I'm going to throw this guy out early. Okay. He could be my number 1. I've commented many times on our shows about funny players and entertaining players and guys we'd pay money to go see play. And this guy is in every one of my lists. He did have 5 Gold Gloves, over 3,000 hits, 477 career home runs. But my favorite part about him is that he was always laughing and smiling on the field. Part of why we play baseball is the fun of it and the pranks and the jokes and the busting each other's chops out there. And this guy did it for over 20 years and was always entertaining to watch. You couldn't take your eye off of him, and that'd be Adrian Beltre. I
Beltray.
mean,
Yeah.
the
Oh
guy could
yeah, yeah.
play,
Yeah.
Well done.
absolutely could play, but man, he had it so much fun on the field. I absolutely love that about that guy. And I loved when he left the Dodgers. That made it really special.
Yeah. It
But I loved Adrian Beltre. There's all sorts of videos on YouTube you can watch that are hour-long compilations of Adrian Beltre being funny on the baseball field. So love that guy. Love that guy.
That's a good pick. I like him. He has fun
Yeah.
playing baseball.
Yep.
Those are the
Yeah.
guys I like.
Yep. Me too. Oh, Webby, how about you do it this time?
All right, all right. I'm gonna choose one that I know. If you guys have him on your list, please use him and talk about him. But to me, growing up, learning baseball, this guy defined the position. Um, I've never seen a better fielding third baseman than this guy, Brooks Robinson.
Hmm.
To
Yep.
to go to a game, it was a lot of baseball fans today. They just go to a game to see a home run. Um, but back in the day, you'd go to see a game because you wanted to see somebody make a great play on the field, like Ozzie Smith at shortstop and Brooks Robinson at third base. Oh, what's he going to do now? How is he going to take what should have been a base hit and turn it into an out or 2 outs, even
Yeah.
with a double play? On top of that, a very good hitter. Not didn't have the knockout stats that some people did. Um, but I saw this the other day. From 1961 to 1964, he played in every available game for his team.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
do not see that anymore.
What a
no.
Um,
stud. Yeah. What a
yeah,
stud.
he did win the MVP in 1964. But again, you're looking at a guy who defined the position. So he's my number 4 pick.
Yeah. I had
All right.
him too. And
Yeah.
he was a 18-time All-Star, but he won
Yeah.
16 consecutive Gold Gloves, one
Yep.
after the other, 16 times, and he's behind the all-time leader of Gold Gloves. And you know who that is? That pesky pitcher, Greg Maddux.
Yep.
Oh,
He's
Oh
got
yeah.
the most.
Yeah.
He's got the most Gold
I was
Gloves.
going to say Steve Ontiveros.
Yeah. It's not
Steve
Steve
Hunter.
Ontiveros. That's pretty much the wrong answer to everything.
Hey, um,
All right. All right. Brent, why don't you give us your number 4?
okay. Well, this guy played 21 years in the major leagues, mostly as a third baseman with the Atlanta Braves and the San Francisco Giants. Then later as a designated hitter for the Detroit Tigers. But he did win a World championship with the Tigers in '84. And most of his success in the early career, he was a two-time All-Star with the Braves and the Giants, and he led the MLB in home runs in 1985. He led the league in walks in '73 and '74, so right up there with Mr. Bonds. But it's Darrell Evans, and in the minors, he earned the nickname Clank due to his fielding abilities. But he also acquired the nickname Duty because his resemblance to the popular television puppet Howdy Doody.
Howdy doody.
Yeah, but the reason he's on my list is because at one of my fantasy camps, we were having drinks at the bar. I think it was one of the first days there. We were at the Millennium Hotel there in Scottsdale. He's just talking. I was just sitting there talking with some of the guys, and he comes up. Never met him before in my life. Sits down with us, starts telling us some stories, starts asking questions of all of us. He's more interested in us than we are of him, and he was a totally different than I perceived him when I was watching him play ball. He's just a regular guy that likes to have fun with the rest of us, and kind of like they all are when you get to know them. But back in the fantasy camp days, the campers would play a 3-inning game against the pros, and I was playing first base when he came up to bat, and I looked at him standing in the batter's box, and I backed up almost to the outfield grass. I mean, luckily he didn't hit it to me. He didn't hit it to me, but he could be just so intimidating when he stood at the plate. So, Duty Evans.
Yeah, 414 home runs.
Yep.
He was on my list too, and just a gritty player. He'd get down and dirty.
Yep. He was an honorable mention for me. We were at a bar one night, shocker, and
no,
there's about 100 people in the bar, and maybe 15 of the people in there are fantasy campers. Everybody else are just people at the bar. And Darrell Evans is at the bar talking, and a guy to his left said, "Hey, is that a World Series ring?" And Darrell Evans, "Oh yeah, here, want to try it on?" And he passed it to the guy. It made its way through all 100 people in the bar without him ever turning to look and see where it was. He just sat there and kept talking with us and talking with everybody else. And about an hour, I think it was about an hour later, the ring makes its way back down the bar, and he just kind of casually takes it and puts it back on his finger, and that was it.
Dang, well, I don't think anybody would steal his ring because they wouldn't want to deal with him.
But
no.
He never turned around to look, or he was never worried about it. It was the weirdest thing. But I thought, like you said, he's just a relaxed, easygoing guy in real life, and that proves it.
Yeah, pretty much.
So.
Yeah, some of the peripheral guys with the fantasy with the club get rings, actual World Series rings.
Right.
Marty Lurie had one, and he was in the stands at I think the finale game, and he was wearing his ring.
I remember that. I got a picture of you wearing it.
Yeah, and he was passing it around, and it dropped to the concrete. His face looked a little shocked.
Well, I was at the Giants game one time, and Marty Lurie sat right in front of me, and he turned around and showed me his ring too. And I said, "Let me take a look at that again." And he says, "I think you saw it at fantasy camp." And I said, "I did," and I put it on and I looked at him. And this guy sitting next to me was just like big, wide eyes, and his wife was right next to him. I said, "Here, you want to try it on?" And he put it on, and I took a picture of him holding this ring. I took it back off, gave it back to Marty. Next inning, he came back with 2 beers for me.
All right.
He thought that was the awesome thing. He got to wear a World Series ring.
So for our listeners, Marty Lurie is he does like a pregame show for the Giants. Is that what he still does, guys?
Yeah, and a weekend show. Yeah,
weekend show.
Weekends only.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cusack was just texting me about that, so I'm glad you said something.
Oh yeah, okay, all right, great.
He could do off the cuff baseball stuff like Robbie and Webby can. One day we had a rain out, and he was at camp, and he took up most of the morning just talking baseball with us, all sitting in the gym.
Oh yeah.
When he first started with the Giants, on a Saturday or a Sunday, he'd start off at like 8 o'clock in the morning,
Oh,
and
Chop
he,
House.
yeah, at the Chop House, and then go through the game, and then come on after the game and go until 8 or 9 at night.
Right.
It was
Wow.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he stopped doing that. Now they've got Lasky and some of the other guys, Kerry Crowley and those folks. But
But this
I
is
guess
about third baseman.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna finish.
Hey, hey guys, I want to keep you on schedule. JC, why don't you pick somebody to finish out this round?
Yes,
Well,
yes, will do. So, my I want to go off the map here. I'm gonna pick a guy who got stuck at third base because Chris Brown couldn't brush his teeth without injuring himself. And, and so he got stuck at third base in 1986. He made 4 errors in 1 inning,
oh,
and then he hit a home run early in the game, and he hit the game winner in the ninth inning. That was Bob Brenly on September 14th,
yeah,
1986.
yeah, yeah. That'll get
Third
you in the
base.
record books.
Yep.
It'll
Hmm.
get you in the record books. Not quite like you want to,
Yeah,
but yeah.
we've talked about that game on this show before.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, that was on the Redemption show.
Yes,
JC, remember?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, I
I do.
remember.
I do.
Mhm.
I do.
All right, cool. We're through 2 rounds. What do we do now,
Right.
Rob?
Well, it's my favorite part of the show. It's a segment we like to call "What You Drinking," and for 85 or 86 episodes, whatever we've determined it to be, we have been sponsored by our good friends at Almanac Brewing, Alameda, California, one of America's leading craft brewers, no doubt about that. And we are proud to be sponsored by them, and we all take turns drinking different beers. I think some of us, I'm afraid, might be getting a little predictable, including myself. I do love their lager series. It changes about every 3 months, and they just brought out their Buenos Vibras Mexican lager, which is absolutely delicious and refreshing. It's a great crushable beer. The old slogan, the one beer to have when you're having more than one.
Ah,
So I'm
Nice.
enjoying my
it is.
Buenos Vibras.
It is a good one. I have to admit,
What are you
it
guys
is a good
drinking?
one.
Well,
Well,
I got a Seaside West Coast IPA. This is a nice IPA, not too hoppy, uh, kind of lighter in flavor, and you can have a couple of these without falling off the stool. Hopefully, I've done that too, but not with this beer.
Mhm.
Cheers.
well, after the opening day game when we went to Almanac, I found this one in the cooler, and I brought some home because I'm a Pilsner kind of ale guy and or a lager guy, and this is called a Crispy Girl Pilsner, and it's made by the women of Almanac. They came up with the recipe and made this one, and it's a very good beer. It's nice and crisp, a little hoppy, but not too bad for a Pilsner. And thought I'd try it out, and I kind of like it. Here's my Pilsner.
All right,
And it's got a little
cool.
snap to it.
It does. Crispy Girl.
Little snap. Easy
That's
there.
right.
We don't want to get thrown
Okay,
off the air.
Oh, snap.
tonight I'm having an Almanac Future is Fluid.
That's a
I've
good
had
one.
these before. This is a West Coast IPA, but there's a problem tonight. I have a defect in the bottle. The
Oh, no.
sticker on my bottle or my can was folded over. I can't believe this manufacturing error occurred. We'll have to bring it to Almanac's attention. But the beer still tastes wonderful, so
So
that's
I
all
got
we
to
care
find a
about,
new
right?
sponsor now.
Well,
Yes, because I pointed out the manufacturing defect.
Yeah.
maybe they'll compensate you fourfold.
Yeah, it could be. You know, it's a quality control thing. So but yeah, really like this one. This is in my top 3 of the IPAs. I'm still a Love Hazy fan, but this is right up there. The future is fluid.
Have you had the Big Love, the double
I
hazy
have.
IPA?
That's the double IPA, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that That's as JC said, that'll knock you off your stool. So yeah.
let's go with chair.
Mhm. Okay, Jared.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, once again, we want to thank Almanac. If you're in the Alameda area or make a special trip out there, it's worth it. There's plenty to see out there where they're located. They're on the old naval base in Alameda. The building is fantastic. The people are great. They do some touring. There's tasting flights, and there's several places around there to go see other things. But Almanac is the anchor for that area, and we are proud to be associated with them. So stop by the brewery, try out their beers. You will not be disappointed, and tell them you heard about them from the highlights from Low Life Show, and they may take pity upon you.
They may.
Cool.
All right. Good.
All right, JC. You finished off a round 4. Who will start round 3?
Oh, well, I go with Brent.
Okay. Here we go. My number 3 was the Brooks Robinson one. I could tell you a little story about him. Um, he was playing in a World Series, and his performance won him the MVP World Series alone. And Sparky Anderson said to the press, "I'm beginning to see Brooks in my sleep. He was making so many good plays." He says, "If I dropped this paper plate, he'd pick it up on one hop and throw him out." But anyway, since Robbie had him earlier, I'm going to go with a former Cub and Giant, and now currently a Colorado Rocky. It's Chris Bryant. He made his major league debut in 2015 as a Cub. I think they drafted him, didn't they, Bobby or
Hmm.
Webby?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and he was named MLB All Star and won the National League Rookie of the Year in 2015. Um, he was named again an All Star in 2016 and he did win a World Championship with the Cubs. Named a National League Most Valuable Player that same year. So the Cubs traded him to the Giants in 2021, and then he received a 7-year contract with the Rockies. So he only got to play with the Giants for a year. And I saw him as a Giant um, many times. I think he played as many innings in the outfield as he did at third base. But I liked his clutch hitting. He was quite a hitter. And I think
Yeah.
injuries kept him from getting in the lineup many times, and he was always struggling to maintain his status there at third base with whoever else was in the lineup, like Panda and Longoria. But he looked like he had fun when he played. I like those kind of guys. Um, I guess he's doing okay with the Rockies. They still have him because he signed a 7-year contract, so maybe that's
He
why
is
he's.
he is not doing okay with the Rockies.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Um,
Well,
his time with the Rockies has been he spent more time on the IL than not, and they just
injuries.
diagnosed last week he has a degenerative disc disease, not just a back injury, a disease that will it will be a problem for him the rest of his life.
All right. Well,
So
that's why he's
yeah.
on my alternate list. But
Mhm.
doggone it, that's too bad because
Yeah. Yeah.
you can't take stuff away from athletes.
Yeah.
They want to be out there, they want to compete,
They
they
won't
want to
compete.
do that stuff, and then they get thrown a curveball like that one, and that's tough. But
Mhm.
shoot. Anyway, he was my number 3.
All
Webby,
right.
what do you got for number 3?
All right. I'm going to get some booze for this one, but I loved watching this guy.
I know who it is.
The Penguin,
Yep,
Ron Say
Ron
at third
Cissy.
base.
Yeah, I knew it.
Yeah.
With a
He wasn't,
mustache.
he, yeah, he wasn't the greatest fielder, but he was serviceable at the position. But the power bat and the clutch hitting year after year with the Dodgers. And I know that was tough for Giants fans to watch, but then, he moved from the Dodgers over to the Cubs. All right. It's a Cub, I saw him as a Cub, and he helped the Cubs during a time when they were just gaining legitimacy again in the mid '80s. Um, and he was one of the main reasons he made them a viable contender, along with a couple of other trades that the Cubs made. I don't know if you guys remember this. He finished his career in '87 with the A's.
With
I
the
had
A's,
no
yeah.
idea. Yeah,
Wow.
got about 150 at bats with the A's, and that was it for him in '87. But yeah, he's my number 3 pick, Ron Say. All
Good
right,
job.
JC, what do you got?
Yep.
Well, my number three is a former Giant, played 5 years with the Giants, was traded to Chicago in 2002, and then back to the Giants in 2002. And he was very serviceable at third base, a good hitter, but nothing that would cause you to just stand up and cheer all the time. But he went as a free agent to Boston, where he was the Silver Slugger at third base, won a batting title. We never should have let him go. Bill Miller.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
He's good.
He had a weird batting stance and stroke. It was almost like he was slapping at the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if you're looking for somebody in today's game to compare him to, Luis Ariz is the same way. They just
Oh,
put the ball in play. Strikeouts are not a part of their game. They
Right.
try to shy away from that and just get that ball in play because you can't get to first if you don't hit the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, he had some clutch hits. I,
Yeah,
you're right.
absolutely.
You're right, JC. He was a good player that a lot of people didn't recognize it as much as they should. And
Until he left.
somebody told somebody told me he
until he
he
left.
is he related to
The
the old
umpire.
giant Don Mueller or Miller? Is that the same?
No, no, his brother was an umpire for many years.
Okay, all right,
Oh,
all right, cool. All right, Robbie, do you finish out this round?
Yes, I do.
All
All
right.
right, I got a contemporary. He's the only contemporary guy on my list for third base. And we're some of us lowlifes are going to actually see this guy play in person on our annual Lowlifes baseball trip coming up in June.
right.
And again, we talk about guys that have fun on the field, that really rally their teammates. They're the heart and soul guys of their teams, the guys that everybody else just kind of they gravitate to them and really elevate their team and make their teams better than they are. This guy's really underrated defender. I think he's outstanding. Switch hitter, good speed, and that's Jose Ramirez from the Cleveland Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
He's a guy I really enjoy watching play. He's in
Yeah.
every
Yeah,
play.
absolutely.
He's a guy that turns it on and off between pitches like Beltrake and laugh and have fun with guys, and then the
get
pitcher
serious.
comes set and he's focused and ready to win. I love watching that guy play. So Jose Ramirez definitely on my list.
He plays the game like it should be.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
So there you go. I guess
Cool.
that
We
you
did
know
everybody.
we
All
can get
right.
Rob off of Facebook for a second.
Hey, I'm trying to help another show that's going on at the same time. So hey, all right. So we're through three. Let's move into round two. Robbie, who starts?
I'm gonna send it back to Teddy Bear.
Oh, okay.
Very good.
Well, this is one of the guys that we all know, and he was an original San Francisco Giant. Played his entire career with the club from '58 to '70. He also managed the Giant in '85. He coached for them for 9 more years and had 3 different terms. Spent some time in the front office, and so all told, he was with the Giants for 51 years, and he was nicknamed by his grandfather. His nickname was Peanut. It's Jimmy Davenport.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gabby.
Davy, leading the National League third baseman in fielding percentage from 59 to 61, and winning the Gold Glove at third base in '62. Davy played 97 consecutive scoreless games, or errorless games, excuse me, uh, at third base until it was broken by John Weiner in the '90s. So that's a pretty good record hold from '66 to '90s.
Yep.
But the reason he was on my list is when I was younger, I remember watching him play third base at Candlestick. And although he did play 10 years at shortstop and a little second base, and a little at first base, some outfield, but mainly a third baseman. Um, Later at fantasy camp, he was one of my coaches along with Hobie Landreth, and we made it to the championship along with JC and Tiger and a few other of our buddies. Um, occasionally we would meet him and his wife Betty just by chance at Oracle Park. He didn't remember my name, but he remembered that he had coached my us at fantasy camp several times. So he's a very down to earth, hard nosed ball player, uh, and he had a lot of baseball knowledge and a lot of baseball sayings. Like our buddy number 9, Mike Weir would remember. Come on, 9, hit that ball
Yeah.
with a big
Yeah.
Southern drawl. Why can't that boy hit that ball?
It-
Or when my sister used to play and she did well, he'd say, "Atta boy," and spit his tobacco. Girl, atta boy, girl. So I
Yeah,
think we,
he wasn't great with names. That's for sure. Yeah.
I
but he would recognize you. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, he knew that you were associated with him somehow, somewhere in
Yeah,
baseball. I think we lost him in 2016, if I remember right. But too
a
bad. But
little later than
anyway,
that. Yes.
yeah.
Jimmy Davenport.
Mm.
Yeah, a great guy, and he would always talk to Mike and Dwayne, and he would talk to Dwayne. He says, "Hey, Copper, where's Krakow?"
Krakow.
Krakow,
Poland.
Copper. Yeah, Krakow. I think.
Yeah, I should have said Poland. It's in Poland.
I he
He's
was
in the
one of my
Pooh Land.
he was one of my
Mhm.
coaches in my first fantasy camp, and you're right, that hit that ball. And I remember stepping out with I had a 3-0 count on me, and I stepped out and looked over. He was coaching third base, and I looked over to see if he wanted me to take one or not. And he looked at me and he goes, "Hit that ball, son. You didn't pay $5,000 to come down here and walk."
Yeah, he laid it
Very
out
cool.
there.
All right, Brent, who's up next?
Oh, JC, who do you got?
Well, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go contemporary, Robbie. You know, a highlight reel every game. I swear, this guy makes plays. He's had some big hits the last few years. He's he's a 5-time Gold Glove winner and a Platinum Glove winner, which is just something that's been instituted recently. Uh, a 2019 All Star Matt Chapman, just a very solid ball player, and like I said, a highlight reel every night. Matt
Yeah,
Chapman, my number 3, 2.
he's kind of the
What is
back.
it?
He's kind of the backbone of the position players. Uh,
Yes,
And
he's like, I don't know if they have a team captain, but he's the one that everybody looks to.
he should be. Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
he's very focused and pretty serious when he's on the field. And I so far Willie Adamas at shortstop is one of the fun guys, and you can watch him trying to pick at Chapman during the game to get him to break up, get him to laugh, get him to do anything like to rattle him a
I,
little
I, I
bit.
think I think Robbie's loosening him up. He
Yeah,
is loosening him up. Yeah.
oh, I'm sure he is. It's just kind of funny to watch. You see him smile, and you see Chapman just go.
Yeah. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it.
Not taking the bait.
Good
All right.
deal.
All right. Webster, have you gone in this round?
I have not.
Go.
All right, I'm kind of surprised this guy hasn't been mentioned yet,
Mm.
because we talk about him all the time. Not
Steve Ontiveros.
necessarily. No, it's not Steve Ontiveros. Um, this guy, we talk about him not because of his great hitting or his great fielding, but for some of the hilarious and gross things he's done off the field. Um, George Brett of the Kansas
Hmm.
City Royals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was he was a different kind of fun, very intense on the field. One of the great batting average players of all time. Uh, could hit for power if you needed him to. Excellent third baseman and a ferocious competitor. But he loved to pull pranks, and there is a YouTube video out online. Go look for the George Brett video where
Yeah.
he's describing to some rookies, I believe, at spring training, um, the fact that he had a bit of an accident in his pants one day, and um, these rookies are very, very excited to be able to talk to the legendary George Brett. But if you watch the video, about 1 or 2 minutes in,
they
they
leave.
are actively trying to get away from him, and this story is so uncomfortable.
And he
But
knows what he's doing, and he's stalking them. They try to move away, and he
yes,
just keeps following them and keeps
Yeah,
going
keeps
on.
oh
going.
God, it is very good.
It's a
I'm not
great
sure.
watch.
Yeah,
It is
yeah,
a good watch because somebody had
yeah.
to film that. They had to know it was coming, so they followed
But
him. And
but when people think of the Kansas City Royals, they think of George Brett. I
Yep.
mean,
yeah, they
it
do.
must be something to be the player that defines a franchise. So he's the guy.
Yep.
So he's my number 2 pick.
Great pick.
All right.
Perfect
That
double pick.
I have
everybody
done that.
did that round.
I have not.
All right,
We
go
got
for it.
one more.
All right, my number 2 is the first professional baseball player. I met several over the time. Hi, how you doing? Get the autograph, talking, whatever. But it's the first guy that I ever got to sit down and actually talk baseball with. And my dad had coached this guy in 8th grade baseball back when junior high still had sports, and so he coached him in 8th grade baseball. He made the majors with the Braves, and then got traded with Brett Butler. And I think it was Rick Pahana to the Indians for Len Barker, which was a really bad trade for the Braves because this guy actually turned out to be a really good third baseman. He was pretty good defensively, and he could hit. He had a couple years with 30 home runs and was always around 80 RBIs, and that's Brooke Jacoby.
Oh,
And
Oh yeah.
one year that the
oh,
Indians came in
Jacoby.
to play the A's here in Oakland, and Brooke called my dad and said, "Hey, I'd love to have you come out to the game since you coached me back in the day." So we went down. We were guests of Brooke Jacoby, and then after the game, we met him over at the hotel and hung out. And Joe Carter came up,
Wow.
and we ended up
Yeah,
getting to talk
major.
with Joe Carter and Brooke Jacoby. We spent kind of at least 2 hours sitting there with them in the lobby of the hotel, just chit chatting
Cool.
and everything. But I really got to talk with Brooke Jacoby before Joe Carter came in about baseball in theory and what he had to go through, to get there. And what do you do when you're playing third base, and a guy like Wade Boggs comes up, who's left-handed, but he might still slap it down the line on you. How do you play him? And we talked about all sorts of just baseball stuff. It was my first real baseball conversation with a real baseball player, and so because of that, he makes my top 5 favorite third baseman of all time. Brooks
That's
Jacoby.
awesome.
Solid.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
So now I
Number
think we
2
finished the round.
complete.
Now what are
All
we
right.
doing?
It's a segment of the
I'm
show.
going to tell you. I'm going
I
to tell you
for
about another show.
Yeah, I formerly called this segment, ugh, and now it's like,
All right. I mentioned earlier that there's another show going on at the same time as ours, and tonight it's the Cal Baseball Show. And normal host Jim Darby is out of town, so Kyle McRae is hosting tonight's show, and he had one of the left-handed pitchers on the Cal Bears starting pitching staff, left-hander by the name of Oliver De La Torre.
Hmm.
So what Kyle does is he interviews Oliver for about a half an hour. Looks like the show just finished, and we get to learn a little bit about Oliver. We get to learn a little bit about the Cal team. And what I've found interesting in watching these shows where they're interviewing the players is what it's like for them to travel back and forth across the United States because now they're a part of the ACC. So the Cal team is putting in more air miles than anybody in the history of that program. Um, these kids are really fun to watch, and you get to hear their enthusiasm on the show. Um, Kyle is the sports information director at Cal, so he knows a little bit about what's going on here. Some of you may have seen Kyle. He also works the stats desk at Warriors games. So this was his first time on Mic'd Up tonight. I'll have to watch it and see how he did.
I
But
would I would
once
guess it
again,
was an unmitigated disaster.
Yeah, could be. We'll have to see.
You pointed out the
But
flaw in
look
the
who was
label. I got to
leading.
point that out.
Yeah. What could go wrong? Anyway, each week, either Kyle or Jim will host a show, and they'll interview a player, a coach, or anybody affiliated with the Cal Bears baseball program. They've done about 6 or 7 shows now, and they're all really high quality. So check it out. All right, let's get into round one. Robbie, you finished that round. Who's up?
JC.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with the Big Marine, as they call him.
Oh, yeah.
4-time Gold Glover, 2001 World Series champ, 4-time Silver Slugger, 5-time All Star, 378 home runs, a 280 to 268 lifetime average over his 17-year career. And my guy is Matt Williams. Loved him as a third baseman. Uh, Solid guy. Was sad when they traded him, but and a good dude. I've met him a couple times. He's kind of shy. He's not an outgoing guy, but a good dude nonetheless. Matt Williams, my number one.
Yeah, he wanted that trade because he wanted to stay closer to his family.
Yeah, in
So that
Arizona.
worked
Yeah.
out. It was a win-win for them. He got to be close to his family. We didn't get a win though.
Good, good pick.
Good one. Good one.
All right, who's up, JC?
All right, Brett.
Okay.
Teddy Bear's up.
All right. Well, my number one was a man of few words. Jimmy Ray Hart.
Wow.
Was signed as an amateur free agent in 1960 by the Giants for 1,500, depends on who you listen to. And later, when I'm done, I'm going to ask JC to tell a story about that signing because he just enjoys to tell it, and his southern drawl is better than mine. But I'll ask it a little bit later. He played in the Giants minor league system from 1960 to 1963. And in 62, with the single A Springfield Giants, Hart was hitting 337 with 18 home runs and 107 RBIs. So he's named the Eastern League Most Valuable Player in 63. He was hitting 312 for the AAA Tacoma Giants in 83 games. So in 83, he's hitting that well. They called him up to the Giants midway through the season. And in one of his earliest games, it was July 7th in 63, he was facing St. Louis Cardinal pitcher Bob Gibson. And his teammate, Willie Mays, tried to tell him and warn him about digging in. He said, "Don't dig in, don't dig in," against Gibson. Well, to no avail, Gibson hit Hart with a pitch, breaking his left shoulder, and caused him to miss 5 weeks. Well, 4 days after returning to play in 63, Cardinal pitcher Kurt Simmons, and some of us know and play golf with his son Tom. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, Kurt hits his Hart again, giving him a concussion, resulting in ongoing headaches, and pretty much finished his season that year. So the following spring training, manager Alvin Dark worked with Hart how to avoid getting hit by pitches. But the reason he's on my list, and I got to know him, is he was one of the coaches down at fantasy camp. Lynn and I got to ride with him in the airplane to Scottsdale. We left out of Sacramento. Hart was working in Stockton at the time, so he came to the Sacramento airport to catch the plane out to Scottsdale. And that was about as much of the, talking to him is like talking to a paper bag. He's a man of few words. But when we had the camper versus pros game at the end of fantasy camp, I was playing left field. And he crushed the ball out there, but I was playing deep enough to where I could cop the fly ball by Jimmy Ray Hart. And I'll never forget that I caught a ball that Jimmy Ray Hart had in left field. So that's my number one. That's my number one.
Nice.
Good pick.
Yeah. Webby, what you got?
All right. I'm gonna talk about a guy that I would have thought most of you would have said. Um, this guy played 22 years in the big leagues. most of us remember him as a Yankee, Greg Nettles.
Oh,
I mean, this guy is so popular. He's in a Springsteen song. You know,
That's
they
popular.
talk about glory days. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 390 homers over 22 seasons. Played with the Twins, the Indians, the Yankees, the Padres, the Braves, and the Expos. Um, just a solid third baseman, a guy that you expected would do the job every night. Um, not a high batting average guy, but had some really good power seasons. Hit as many as 37 homers in a season. Um, had a few Gold Gloves. Was a 6 or 7 time All Star. This is a guy that kind of defined the position for the time that he played. So, Greg Nettles, he's my number one.
He's
All right,
good. Yeah.
Nice
Yeah.
job.
Absolutely. Yes.
all right, Robbie, you bring it home.
I can do that.
Mhm.
It's my only Giant on the list, shockingly,
Okay.
and it's not Steve Ontiveros.
Oh,
It's
No, that's even
you
bigger
missed.
shock. Yeah.
yeah, it's this is a. I mean, I'm back to my childhood, the third baseman of your childhood era. The guys you remember, and for me,
Yep.
there was one guy that had the perfect nickname because he was covered with filth all the time, and that was Dirty Al
Dirty Al.
Gallagher.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Looked like he
Dirty
played a
Al,
ball game.
Dirty Al.
the first San Francisco native to actually play for the San Francisco Giants. He played baseball at Santa Clara, where he got the nickname. I always thought, as a kid, I mean, every time I saw him, his uniform was dirty as hell. Um, I always thought it was from that because he always played hard. He dove all the time, and my dad used to make a joke like if he didn't have to dive for a ball in game and get dirty, he'd go over and roll around on the warning track just to get some dirt on him to make it look like he did something that day. Um, but yeah, he used to. He was very superstitious, I guess, in Santa Clara when he was playing baseball there. And if he got a hit in a game, he'd wear the same uniform, the same underwear, the same jockstrap, the same socks, same
Oh.
everything in the next game until he didn't get a hit. The nickname came when he went on a 25 game hitting streak.
Oh,
Ew. Yes. Ooh.
a little too
Uh,
fragrant for me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He became Dirty Al, and that stuck with him. But
He
boy,
released
that
a
was
fragrance that they didn't like.
so Dirty Al. I mean, always getting dirty. Gotta love the guy.
Yeah. Good one. Good one.
all right, we have completed all of our rounds. I noticed we do have a few call-ins that Robbie will play in a second, but I got to do one of my honorable mentions now. Um,
Oh.
just give me a sec, Brent.
Okay.
Um, I mentioned to you about Ron Santo, and when Ron Santo's career was ending, they actually shipped him off to the White Sox, a crosstown rivals, because they thought they had their next third baseman. They did not.
Ooh.
But this guy had a unique talent. Anyway, do you guys remember the name Carmen Fanzone?
Yes.
I do not.
I don't.
Okay,
Yeah.
Robbie does.
Okay.
This is the guy that was going to take the third base job when Santo left town. Carmen had decent power, was an okay fielder, and lasted in the big leagues for 5 years. But he had a special talent that I got to see in person on the field. I was at Wrigley Field one day in the early '70s, and I think I was with my little league team, and we got to go out on the field. And Carmen Fanzone came out and played the national anthem on a trumpet.
Oh,
He was
wow.
Really?
awesome. He
Oh,
was so
nice.
good. And I believe after his playing career, which ended in '74, that he played the trumpet professionally in as solo and in bands. So
Oh, nice.
take a look. He's 83 today, so I don't think he's playing anymore. But that was one I
Next,
wanted to get in there. Yeah,
the next
Do you
Herb
know who
Brett,
took
Alpert.
his? Do you know who took his job? Steve Ontiveros.
Steve Ontiveros. So great.
Hey, I just got to
Great.
give a shout out. We may have doubled our listenership. Got a couple of buddies that that said they were going to listen in tonight. If Matt and Anthony are listening tonight, I want to give you a shout out. I hope you enjoyed the
Yeah.
show. And hey, hit the microphone, give us a comment, guys. Come on.
Yeah, it
Hey,
won't
hey,
bite. It's just a comment, and yes, we will make fun of you, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
yeah.
matter.
Hey,
I mean,
spoiler alert, the warden said she was tuning in tonight.
Mm.
Oh, all right, all right.
Viva
We may
Viva
have
might make an appearance.
we may have
Hello, Viva.
hey Warden, how you doing? We may have tripled our audience here.
All right. Hey, Robbie, can you play in some of our comments from the audience?
yeah, it looks like we've got one from one of the Yankees Coast to Coast guys.
Ooh.
My favorite third baseman of all time is Michael Jack Schmidt. Great defender, great hitter, fun to watch. Then there's Greg Nels, only because he's a Yankee. Great defender, fun to watch. And got into a fight with George Brett, which brings me to number
Oh.
3, George Brett. Unbelievable player. And then, of course, Brooks Robinson would be number 4. I don't know about 5.
Hey, those are all good ones. Very
Yeah.
It
All
sounds
good
like he's at
picks.
an A's game and
Yeah.
didn't want to disturb the crowd.
Yeah, he wouldn't.
Good calls, Mr. Miller. We
Yes,
enjoyed
those
those.
are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are good guys. Good guys.
All right. Marty, Clip on Brown.
Hi, this is Marty on special assignment. Third baseman, Mike Schmidt, George Brett, Eddie Matthews,
Ooh.
Brooks Robinson, and number 1 coming up in a minute.
Wow, this is
He's
like if a real person was a cartoon character
Yeah.
when you listen to that voice. Yeah.
I
I think Marty is also at the A's game, and he doesn't care if he disturbs the other fans.
No, Marty is actually working the Reno Aces game
Number
tonight.
1, third baseman, all time. I don't know. Think about it.
yes.
All right, very good.
well done. Well done.
Oh,
Who's on
oh,
first?
Think
he
about it.
totally
Second. I don't know
roped
who's
us
on
in.
Right on in there. Drew us right on in.
Who saw that coming?
No, he didn't.
Spoiler alert.
Very good. All right, you guys
Very
got
good.
any good honorable mentions?
Well, I got to complete the story that that Brent
Yes.
told about Jim Ray Hart.
Jimmy Ray Hart.
You know, he comes from a sharecropper family in the South, and he couldn't speak in a full sentence if you paid him to. But the Giants, the New York Giants at the time, came down to talk to him, and they looked him up, and he's with his family in a little cabin, and with the 5 kids that the family had, and talked to his dad. And the scout said, "Hey, for $500, we'll take him to New York to be with the Giants." And Dad said immediately, "I ain't got no $500." And the scout said, "No, we'll pay you. Ray, pack a bag."
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. The true story came out of Jimmy Ray's mouth.
Yep.
Very
I got a
good.
few-
Very good.
He told that story a couple different times, and through the broken English, you could get it.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
I got a few.
All right.
Nolan Arenado,
Yep.
Very good.
Sabo, and Carney Lansford. And on my honorable mention list, our buddy Hammy. I like him as our third baseman.
Oh,
He's a
Yeah.
low life.
Hammy.
yes.
Yep.
Low
Shout out
life
to
can
Hammy.
be. They can be your favorite. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
My mother would be upset if I didn't mention Ken Keltner, who none of you will probably know, but he was the third baseman on the 1948 World Series champion Cleveland Indians. And my mom liked Ken because he was a very attractive man.
She liked him in baseball pants.
Okay, I got one. I got one with the New York Giants. A third baseman came from the Kansas City Monarchs, and he also played 12 games with the St. Louis Browns. But in 1949, he joined the Giants, played through 1956, 144 career home runs, 275, 12-year career. Hank Thompson. And
Oh, good one. Okay.
if you look up Hank Thompson, he came right after Jackie Robinson.
Yep.
Very close after.
The interesting fact, he is the only Negro League player that came in and integrated two teams. He was the first black player for the Browns and the first black player for the Giants.
Awesome.
Ah,
Very
he's
good.
the only
Very
player
good.
that
Very cool.
integrated two different teams.
Yes, very cool.
Yep. That's
I
what I
learned
got.
that at the Negro League Museum when I was paying attention.
All right. Any others?
I got two. One, I knew everybody was going to pick Mike Schmidt. So Mike Schmidt is my honorable mention, and I still contest that if you talk about who is the greatest living baseball player of all time now, we discussed that on the show, and it came down between Schmidt and Ricky Henderson, and unfortunately Ricky's not with us. So
Yeah.
even if you were on the Ricky team, it's undoubtedly Mike Schmidt is the greatest living player of all time right now.
Yeah.
So, and then my other honorable mention, this guy used to wear the crap, and he played in the 70s for the Cardinals, then the Giants, then he went back to the Cardinals, and I think he finished with the Cubs. And every team he wore a crappy windbreaker. It didn't matter if it was 110 degrees outside or 31 degrees. He wore one of those crappy 70s plastic windbreakers with the big collar under his jersey every time for every team that he played with. And the proof is in the baseball cards. Ken Reitz.
Oh, yeah.
Kenny Reitz had that big he'd have the uniform on, and then the big collar lapels would be sticking
That was
out of
his
the uniform for every
Elvis
team he ever
Presley
played for.
impression.
It was so weird.
Thank you very much.
So Robbie, there was a point in Reitz's career when things didn't go well.
No.
He had some off-field poor behavior. I believe it was drug-related. He ended up playing down here with the San Jose Bees at the time.
Oh, wow.
And he still wore the windbreaker under the uniform, even with the Bees. So, yeah. All right, guys. Hey, thanks. That was a great show.
That was good one, guys.
All right.
Cheers.
Next week, we will be doing a show from the Ports game again. Topic to be determined. But please tune in. There may be a cast of characters again, like last week.
I hope not.
But we'll have some kind of topic that I think you'll enjoy. So
and come on out to the Ports game. Support the Ports.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good
If you
time.
don't know where Stockton is, look it up on a map and then decide whether or not you want to make that drive.
You do.
So, okay.
Banner Island Ballpark's a nice destination, though.
Yes, absolutely.
It is.
Family friendly and
Beautiful
safe.
ballpark.
Play us out, Robbie.
Here we go. Thanks, Almanac.
Thank you, fellas.
Thanks, Almanac.